Hello, Scorpios and fellow cross watchers. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Sharon, intuitive empath. Welcome to ProjectFEVtarot and more. So this is going to be the rest of the month of March for my Scorps. Love my Scorps. Ask me why. I'm a Scorpio rising and I'm a Scorpio moon. So when a message channels through, I have to be very cognizant, you know, like, okay, is this for me too? Or am I just channeling this for the collective? I am part of the collective for Scorpios. So, well, I have to admit today it came through and I was like, well, that was something that I needed to done here too. So without further ado, my Scorpion friends, let me just go ahead and share with y'all this crazy little ditty story that I'm going to entitle Why Patience is So Important. Because if there's something that as a Scorpion I can relate to all y'all, you know, regarding is that when it comes to patience, right? Like my new mug. I got my new mug at the, oh yeah. So I bought this little mug tree and I set up this little coffee station because I just moved into this place and I'm like getting, you know, my bearings about what it is. And I went on a mug spree is what I call it, because I pretty much bought like 8 coffee mugs that I didn't really need, but you know, abundance. So yay. And they all have cute little things like this. 0 fox given. And I was just like, yeah, I need a little bit of this in my life. It's so cute. So cute. I was like, heart mugs, yes. And so, okay, let's just dive right into the rest of this part. Okay, so basically what I've decided to do is restructure things moving forward here. I have Big Duchess hair right now, so I think I look funny with my head being cut off most of the, you know, because my hair is so big up here. But my friends call me Duchess because of this thing that happens here. So this is basically just my hair up in a bun, you know, the top head bun. And it takes up the entire screen. The entire shot is all hair. And now I understand everybody that calls me Duchess. Okay, I'm looking clearly at myself now. And I get it. I understand why Duchess. Okay, so yeah, collective, here we go. So restructuring, moving forward. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to share the pre-meditative shuffle. I'm going to talk a little bit about the cards that came out during that process, and then we'll break off and I'll go into the extensive readings, okay? And the extended readings are the ones that you can get information about in the description box, and there'll just be little quick pre-recorded videos for the collective. It'll give the advice cards, the information, the spiritual growth cards, any of the other decks that, you know, we utilize other than just the tarot. Sorry, I have a knuckle cracking thing that I do, like, I don't know why. Anyhow, so basically the overall theme for you guys for the rest of the month of March, and I really do think that as an underlying theme for the rest of Jupiter in Scorpio is patience. You're really doing a lot of internal work, okay? I feel this coming up because Temperance came up in reverse. And this is the card of balance, emotional, balanced with logic, using your emotional self to help make decisions and foster, nurture the part of the decision that requires an emotional connection, and then also the logical aspect of it. You can see that one of the chalices is gold, the other is silver. So 2 different elements being represented with an emotional connection here. It's also about balancing those experiences in the ether, because you can see Temperance isn't grounded, okay, at all. And I should probably do a little more research to find out if that's Pluto behind her, because it shouldn't be. Because if it's Pluto, it's definitely not the planet of patience, because Scorpio, your co-ruler, is Pluto, and let's just face it, Pluto is a fiery little devil planet, just like Mars is. And although it's far away, thank God for that, because if it were closer in proximity to the Earth, the energy from Pluto would probably just wham-a-dam us out of the atmosphere, okay? We would just be like intense all the time. I cannot even handle my own intensity sometimes, and I'm learning that. Like, if I can't manage my own intensity and I can't even stomach myself sometimes, how can I expect other people to do that? So in essence, I'm kind of learning some humility, which is interesting because in the Soul's Journey deck, so this is the Journey Within deck, okay? The lens of humility is the card that came up, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what I really need to hear. And that really confirms a lot of what I'm kind of experiencing, particularly since the new year, where it's like, you know, an attitude of gratitude really goes a long way. And just not just staying positive, but really just surrendering sometimes, and not being so fixated. And I think that, you know, I think that's the unhealthy nature of fixed signs, is it's not that we're fixed, because, you know, when we're loyal or we're faithful or we're trustworthy and we've developed the healthier natural abilities of ourself, you know, that are coming from the light side of us, then, you know, it's good because we stick with that. You know, I know that I've learned integrity is very important, and maintaining who I am and the standard of who I am and representing myself in its entirety all the time, altruistically, is the only way that I'm really going to live a happy life. And when to compromise on that with people and when not to compromise on that has been huge breakthrough for me. And that's been like the last decade, right? I don't know if you guys are experiencing any of the same trends. If you are, leave comments and open the dialogue for everybody to discuss. But, you know, it talks about the lens of humility, and it says, train your mind to see past the ego and view life through the lens of humility and faith. And it's so funny because faith came up as a trend when I was talking, you know, conversing with the guides. It really just, it even came up, you know, and I wrote it here, like at the very bottom, faith. Just why patience is so important, because divine timing is at work. And Scorpio, I think generally a lot of Scorpios connect with the nature of the universe and all things, but there's a nasty little rumor about Scorpios being a-holes. Didn't hear it from me. Little birdie told me. But, you know, that just not nice sometimes, you know, we're kind of like retaliative, and sometimes that stinger comes out and it's like, ow, didn't even see it coming, did you? Kind of proud of that. We shouldn't be as proud of that as we are, because in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about a long-term plan, having this intense fixated nature, and I won't use the term fixed because it's not a healthy manifestation of being a fixed sign. It's when we get into the dark devil aspects of ourself, the ether stuff. You know, the card of worry came up, and the card of doubt came up. And it's like, you know, those worry and doubt are really mental concepts that, when fostered and nurtured, create fear. And as a Scorpion, I can attest to how intense that fear gets very quickly. And then it seems as if I'm not doing enough about it. And it's not reactivity. I'm not like reacting out of fear. It's like, no, I need to do something about this. I need to take more control and do something, because I'm naturally a doer by nature. When it comes to my own life, I'm very independent minded. So I'm always action oriented when I'm projecting into my own life. So when I start to think I'm seeing things kind of drift off course, I'm very quick to kind of go, okay, what can I do to, you know, reel that back in, or, you know, and it's like, it's a lack of faith when you start to egocentrically pursue your own goal. And that's, you know, ego isn't always like a cocky little thing. Sometimes ego is the absence of spirit. It's you going inside yourself thinking how you're going to fix this and not including the universe, God, or the powers that be to help influence the decision that you're making, and how, what action you decide to eventually take. And it's like this past year, I've really been fixated. We'll use the word fixated, shall we? Fixated more on learning how to turn to the powers that be and go, okay, what part do I play in this? I play a role in this, and I know that I do, but it's not the whole thing. There's a grand scheme of things. There's a bigger picture here, and that came up in the Moonology deck. Okay, it says, look at the bigger picture. Full moon in Sagittarius, okay? And of course, it's the red moon, which is interesting because Mars is what drives the forces for action. And Scorpio, you're an action, Mars-driven sign, or Mars-ruled, co-ruler with Pluto. So when you get the intensity of Pluto and you add Mars aggressive action, and you do that without intent and without a connection to the divine, then yeah, your ego comes through and you can cause significant catastrophic damage. I know that I've done that. I'll be the first Scorpio to just go, I've done that. Yep, that's happened. This one right here. So the cards that came out after that were forgiveness and empowerment, and they came out in this way. So here's interesting thing is when I was, viewing the Temperance card, forgiveness and empowerment came out like this over Temperance. And I thought, well, okay, if we're talking about balancing out or creating balance, I think the message here from the divine is part of empowering ourselves is forgiving ourselves for the things that we've done. And okay, so the little birdie thing that I was implying earlier really kind of stems from the little rumor that Scorpio is karma. So if you're getting the stinger from Scorpio, it's probably because you've done something to deserve it. Even if you didn't do it to Scorpio, you've done something, and karma's come back in your life in the form of Scorpio because nobody knows how to bring it. I think the way that Scorpio knows how to bring it. Maybe Cancers can be manipulative and Taurians can be deliberate and very hurtful in their resistance or stubborn nature by withholding the thing that you want. But I really think that Scorpio, the thing about the stinger is it's like, whoop-bam, and I'll just sit there and watch because I already know. You've been stung and you don't realize it. You're just kind of like, ooh, what was that? And you're like, I don't feel so good. Yeah, I know you don't. I'm just waiting for you to catch on. And sometimes people do and sometimes people don't. And I've had to, when I say my lesson in that has been integrity, it's like, okay, I know I'm capable of doing that and I don't want to. And I really think that's interesting how the analogy there, or the metaphor that works and fits in that as the symbol of Scorpio being scorpion, is that little baby scorpions don't know how to control their venom, so they just release all of it when they sting. And a more mature scorpion is exactly that way, that they learn how to do that. And now even a more evolved form of Scorpio is the phoenix. And I in all humility, lens of humility, there's an element or an essence that I'm even moving away from using the stinger or even needing it at all, and into the element of serving the divine through, utilizing channeling messages and helping people, in a lot of facets of my life. It's devoted to making other people feel good, feel better, get better, and just heal. In general, spiritually, psychologically, physically, emotionally, physically, aesthetically. I was a hairdresser for 16 years behind the chair. I used to help people aesthetically improve their self-esteem and their outlook or their self-view. And empowerment is part of that, playing back right into the cards. I feel like there's a flip-flop duality where we forgive and it empowers us. And then worry and doubt sets in. It causes a bit of self-esteem issues, and then we have to forgive, and then we empower and forgive and empower, or we fall prey to the ego, and then we lose our power, because that's what the ego does when the pain body's triggered, and then we have to forgive. And it's like this cycle. And you know, as far as being a Scorpio, I don't know how many of you other Scorpios out there experience this sometimes, but it's really challenging to be a Scorpio, because in essence, you're called to a greater good, and it's always tangibly there. And you get to watch other people get away with being horrible to one another. And I can choose to do that, but I never get away with it. Like ever, you know? So for as much as sometimes karma comes through in an altruistic way, you know, but I never get away with deliberately using that to my benefit for my own ego when I want to make somebody else really hurt. It always comes back, and that venom ends up causing me pain. And it ends up being, you know, something in myself that has caused a significant and deliberate shedding of my own self-esteem. You know, there's a lot of that needed to be restored over the years. And like I said, in the last decade, that's really been like the bigger grand scheme of things, and looking and stepping back now and kind of going, okay, that's what's happened. I'm affected by that. I'm affected by my reactivity, and other people are deeply affected by my reactivity. So in the moment, you know, and that's the Scorpio stare. Okay, that's the other thing that we do. We just kind of, sometimes we're stunned too, because the things that have been said or something that is unknown to us kind of stuns us. It's kind of almost like, you know, am I going to be susceptible to the venom of not knowing that, or whatever comes as a result of my not knowing? Because anything that I don't know ends up being my own karma. And it like invigorates this intense fear where it's like, oh my God, can I please just catch a break, for God's sakes? Like even Jupiter is in Scorpio right now. And I feel this, like, you know, how other people get the benefit of Jupiter and they just seem to like skip through Jupiter and they like manifest their abundance and they don't even have to work at it. It's like, and here, you know, the universe is like, well, you can have abundance, but here you're going to have to work through this and this and this. Oh, and by the way, this, and let's not forget this. And then you have to do the work for this. And any other cards here? Can we throw anything else on Scorpio's plate in order for them to restitute their abundance? Anything? I mean, I'm just kind of like, for God's sakes, I just am, you know, I kind of feel sometimes like I'm tired of working at it. Like, why can't it just happen for me or for other Scorpios if this is your experience? If it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't resonate with you. But it's like, you know, there's an essence of this that is kind of twofold, because it's like, I go in the direction and I manifest the abundance and then feel cocky for doing it. Like, that was overconfident. Who did I step on in order to manifest that? And then there's the other part of it that's like, okay, reconnect with the spiritual self and you know, don't be the person that is like, whatever. I'm just like, I'm to the point where I'm just like, you know what, whatever. I'll just, you know, how does this even work? Like, what's going on here? Let's read this. Forgiveness. It says healing comes from acceptance. Well, yeah, that's true, isn't it? Oh, acceptance came up in the pre-meditative. Forgiveness, empowerment, flip reverse. Where is it? Self-esteem isn't created through doubting oneself. It creates self-esteem issues. And doubt and worry are mental concepts that foster fear. They're not based on any kind of evidence. They're all created in the mind. And acting on that, which in inexperienced Scorpions, we can tend to do that. We can tend to act on that. And I would consider that reactivity, because it's an emotional reaction without any evidence, which is the balance and temperance, which is the logic, okay? Which is, okay, I should probably look for evidence before I react. We preemptively do that, and then we don't manifest our own abundance because we veer off of that path, and not just in like a little way that we can correct, we overcorrect and we crash the whole damn car and have a tower moment. And then I'm surprised that the death card hasn't come up, but I imagine that when I get started on the extended version and with the advice, that the tower card is probably going to come up in there somewhere, and it's probably going to be like, ba-bum, see, told you so, Scorpio, like, hello. So with the other card here is empowerment. When you ask the divine to take over, you get pulled into your own authentic power. And it's like, yeah. And then I have to, you know, make sure that I'm maintaining the lens of humility so that that power doesn't go to my head. And it's always playing this back and forth kind of sense of balance, because with Scorpio energy, for me being rising and moon, it's kind of like I can wildly swing like a pendulum. And, you know, there have literally been times in my life where I've cried out to the divine, like, I just want balance. God, like, can I just stop these wild swings from side to side, or from concept to action and then reaction? And can I just please? And it's a self-esteem thing. It you know, it comes back down to, you know, self-esteem. And the humor card came out too. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I was picturing the Joker. Why so serious? And it was like, yeah, okay. Guess it's a little mental to get to those extremes or act on those extremes. So maybe we can just reel it in a little bit. So we'll read the rest of these cards, get into the extended reading. This is where I leave you if that resonated with you, and I hope it did. Let's go down the extended reading path and find out what else the universe has as a message from the divine for Scorpios for the rest of this month. Please like and subscribe so that we can circulate this for as many people as possible, help out as many people, see what it resonates or who it resonates with. And don't forget to click that bell and get notifications of when I upload new content for you guys. More coming from Project Fev. And what else can I tell you? Check out the extended reading. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.